Welcome to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 13th day of June, Thursday. Celtics are one game away from winning their record-setting, I want to say 18th championship, will give them the most in the NBA. Going to talk about that with the Mad New Yorker. I tell you, folks, I cannot figure out that series. Trevor Lawrence, wow. And Vern Rankless, the great CBS SEC commentator, would say, wow. Signed. He is technically now the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. 5 years, $275 million, 55 annually, 200 fully guaranteed. We'll talk about that. That story broke about an hour and a half ago. Also going to get the Mad New Yorkers' thoughts on Jerry West and the great Jerry West, Aaron Rodgers blowing off mandatory training camp. And we'll get to a little bit more stuff, maybe that Christian McCaffrey story, but of course, a lot of big topics there. Let's take our first and only break. We'll be back here in 49 seconds. We'll hit the ground running here on Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and what in the bleep? Sorry about that, folks. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. Alrighty then, folks, we're back here live, and there is the Mad New Yorker. Happy Thursday. You know, bringing you on Thursday. Yeah, bringing it on Thursday twice in a row. I had to double check and make sure I had my alarm clock set for tomorrow on my phone. I'm so used to doing Fridays, you know, with the Mad New Yorker, and my neighbors who always see me do laundry on Fridays. They say, man, is it Friday? No, it's Thursday. Oh, okay. So I said, yeah, we got a little bit different schedule here this week. But when the Mad New Yorker comes on, I'll knock out a little bit of Friday. A little bit of laundry here. Okay.
Get your quarters out, son. It's not time to go to the casino. It's time to wash your clothes.
It's time to wash your clothes, not the casino. That's pretty funny. Hey, okay. Celtics up 3-0. Did not see this coming. Celtics look pretty average. Pretty decent team coming into the finals. We know they had a lot of breaks, the opposition, injuries and whatnot. My question to you is, were they playing down to their competition coming into the finals, considering the fact how great they've looked in the finals, even without Porzingis? What do you think?
I think that because they didn't have to struggle against the teams that they were going against, that they were able to build up continuity, build up the foundation and structure they're using to play against Dallas. And I think it has worked backwards for Dallas, right? So what we want to see out of Dallas, we haven't seen, and that's because they're tired. They played against.
Okay. So you're saying fatigue may be a factor with Dallas.
Yeah,
going through two really tough teams on paper.
Right,
Number one seed Oklahoma City, and of course Minnesota, who I thought was going to win the whole thing at one point.
Yeah, so you have fatigue, injury, and then also the older guys are tired, and the younger players feed off of energy, and they're not getting that same energy from the two players that they look up to, and it's tough. It's not even coaching can help this at this point, right? Your coach can't say, hey, go heal your leg injury, go heal your back spasms, go get at that. That's not how that works. So and this is something that we would have seen from the Phoenix Suns, we would have seen it from the Clips, we would have seen it from every other team that got a team roster over the age of 32. Now Dallas, they don't, but the one guy that they do have that's been providing them a spark he's injured. He's playing injured, and he looks like it. He's trying, he's putting his heart on Luka. But then, Kyrie, he needs to step up his game too. Like yesterday, he finally had a game over 25 points, right? Yeah. So, but even as fans and as watching basketball, and even if it's not our team, we do have to give credit to Brown and Tatum because they're like, remember, we talked about this. It's frustrating to see two good players not play great.
Yeah.
They're not really playing great, but they're playing better than they usually do. They're playing good. Yeah. They're playing well and good, so it's not terrible.
But look at the longevity. Look at the difference here. You just mentioned Kyrie and Luka, right? And I'm glad you brought that up. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, they've been 6-7 years together straight. If there's several points in that game last night, this whole series, but really last night, where you got Dallas Mavericks chasing the Celtics ball around like it's a laser with playing around with somebody's cat. You got a little laser pointer and the cat's chasing they're chasing it all over the place with their little paws, and boom, 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 bam. And then you got the emergence of Derek White. But we talked about this, I think, last week. That's what I'm talking about with the team basketball.
Right.
All that is just good homegrown chemistry, trust,
and playing to your potential or better, right? You're taking advantage of the fact that the other team is lethargic and they're just really tired.
Yes.
And you don't even have to press the gas, right? Because the Celtics, they can play like they usually play or even mediocre, and they're still going to be 5 to 10 points up on the Mavs. The Mavs are playing catch up right now because of what's going on, and we called it though, right? We said that we want the Mavs to win, but Boston will probably win at the end.
Well, I thought the other way around. I thought Boston would. I thought Mavs would win in 6, but about Boston, I like.
Well, yeah. So we both said the Mavs in 6, but then we also said that if Boston wins, I mean that was what
they're favored to win.
Favorite, right?
And does this kind of remind you of 2 years ago when Boston looked like the fatigued team in the finals against the Golden State Warriors, who's making Boston chase the ball around like a laser, like a cat in a laser beam?
And that's
because they're the more experienced now. It feels like,
right?
They've got that. They've built that. I had a feeling that was going to come into play, but Dallas looks so good coming into it. It was Derek Lively's playing like he's dead out there.
Yeah, and
he played better last night. But the first 2 games, he's MIA, man.
It's and that's also like, and we mentioned on a couple of shows, it's like all they do is shoot. If you're gonna shoot 60 times, 3-pointers, you're gonna make. If you make half of them, you're gonna, you get in the game. So
and the bounces are coming to Boston, and
and the calls too. Some of the referees, some of these calls, and on both sides.
I think Brown's gonna win it, man. I think. Well, this series is over, and Brown's probably gonna win the MVP. Tatum has not played as well as Brown.
Yeah, and there's another thing too. We have to give credit to Boston and their playing defense from the first to the fourth quarter, because they haven't done that in all the time that they've been playing against these teams, because they haven't had to either. That's not their fault. So here's my thing. Are you enjoying this NBA Finals?
It's a huge letdown. It's a 3-0. We thought this was going to be 6 games.
No, but
last possession.
Are the games must see TV?
2 out of 3 have been. What
Right.
game one, like you called game one, they said it could be a blowout, and it was 27 points. And I felt like they gave away game two. And then game three, they looked just like they ran out of gas. And everybody's blaming Luka. Luka looks like Frankenstein out there. He's got something on his arm. He's got something on his back.
He walking around like he got something like holding.
I mean, are they putting little things in his arm? I mean, his neck. I mean, he's Frankenstein 2.0. Talk about playing in the
at that point.
Are you kidding me?
At that point, he needs to also like give the ball to the team. Like, you got to be like Jordan and be like, okay, just I'll be here in the fourth quarter if you need me. You know what I'm saying? Like, remember those games where Jordan was sick or he was hurt? And he's like, okay, we're down by 10.
The flu game.
Flu game. A couple games where he was like, out of it, and then fourth quarter came in. All right, here we go. Give me the ball. It's go time, right? Like something like that. He
carries the ball up too much. All their eyesores are starting to show up against a well-oiled and, like you said, rested Boston team. I sent you this in the text. I know you had to get a kick out of it. How sick is Marcus Smart right now? Sitting down there in Memphis, Pickles. I mean, pulling his hair out, whatever little he's got left.
I'm gonna say this. I'm not a Boston fan. I saw the Knicks beat up on them, and it was like it kind of made my heart pump a little faster and for joy. But this Boston team is beatable, right? We've seen them lose games. And
That's why I'm shocked. It's like they played down to their competition.
Yeah, I don't
leading up to this series.
I was thinking maybe that Jason Kidd would put something together for this team, for the Mavericks, and then have them, I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. I don't think it's him either, right? Like,
but you think the addition of trading him, bringing in Drew Holiday, and giving Derek White more reins, White has blossomed. He's going to get a big contract from this, Derek White.
That's what I'm afraid of too, because there's teams that are,
Oh man, a lot of teams can lose a Derek White. Minnesota. I mean, I love Mike Conley, but he's like 36.
Yeah, I know. It's like, let's see and let's wait and watch, right? Let's just stay. I mean, if you're a Boston fan, you're liking this. If you're a Mavs fan, you're like, maybe you want the kids to be like, yo, sit down, Luka, we're gonna do this for you, and then in the fourth quarter, do your thing, right? Like, I think I would feel like that's what my team would do for me, because I did for you already. I got you here to the promised land. All you gotta do now is drink the water, right? Like, so and they nobody's drinking. Everybody's still waiting to for the next day. It's like eventually you got to step it up, man. This basketball too, man. You can.
Do they get swept? Does Dallas get swept? Or do they have some pride and maybe make this a gentleman's sweep?
It's hard. I thought Kyrie, on the show, I did a show. I thought that before the game started, I was hoping Kyrie scored 40 points. He always scores in a series a 30-plus game.
Right.
He did yesterday, but it didn't. They still didn't win the game. So something's up, man. Like, it's
just a lot of one-on-one basketball.
Yeah.
There. He ran out of gas too.
I think it's easy to say this. It's easy to say this. This is not must-see TV NBA style basketball.
What do you think about this series? It's not? Okay, because I haven't really.
I'm not breaking my back to come home early to make sure I'm sitting down.
Okay, that's me too. I mean, it's
Like, I flip it on like, the third quarter, and I'm like, come on, like, what's going on? Like, and I look at the stats from the first two quarters, and I'm like, meh.
Tatum and Brown both 30 points last night. Yeah, I mean, Doncic 27, 6 and 6, and then he fouls out of the game.
That's another thing.
They're running everything at him to wear him down. I got to give the coaching staff. Boston has out-coached them.
Well, you said that coach was terrible.
The coach was terrible. Okay, mind you, I'm glad you brought that up. Remember, they've added Jeff Van Gundy as an advisor. This is from last year. He was really outmatched last year. They added Jeff Van Gundy, and of course, they've added Sam Cassell. I can see Cassell on the sideline. Maybe he gets the interview for the Lakers job.
Ooh.
They
Ooh.
yeah. How about
Look at
Cassell?
you.
He getting LeBron's rear end.
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen.
He's older too. He's like 45, 50 maybe.
Yeah, he's all
Cassell's
right.
got some miles on him, man.
Cassell, man, he would be a great coach in college too.
Yeah, and you know, I said this a while back. They haven't looked the same since their game 2 loss at home to Cleveland. They have not looked the same ever. I don't know. Something happened in the locker room. Drew Holiday, Sam Cassell, 2 Bulldogs there, love to play defense, get into it. And then, you know, ironically, you get Jeff Van Gundy, who was fired, shouldn't have been fired. I mean, nothing. Borsturk, she's nice. Nothing's wrong. I don't really have any problem with JJ Redick. They're nowhere near as good as the team they had last year on ESPN. They're just, I don't know, saving money, whatever. But that's been the blessing for Boston this year, getting some grit on that team. They're not folding like they have in the past. No, they're not 2-3 centric since game 2. Be honest with you, against Cleveland, if you really think about it.
Yeah, they've been stepping up.
Talk smack with anybody. Yeah, he'll get LeBron's rear and pickles.
It's good to see that the Celtics are not giving it up in the fourth quarter, but they almost did.
Right.
I mean, you know, like so.
Yeah, last year's team would have lost game 2, I think. They might, and maybe this is 2-1 Dallas, right?
Right.
If this is 2-1 Dallas, if you've got Mazzulla just being the head coach and no changes being made other than those staff players.
That's possible, but it's again, you know, we're poking around and we're trying to
psychoanalyzing.
We're trying to triple analyze, and at the end of the day, it's just a different type of game, Bobby. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's not what we used to watch, and it's not the, you know. How about this? When they had a matchup for the finals, for the NBA finals back in the day, you and I watched. We were like, yo, we're leaving home early. We're not playing basketball. We're not going out to eat.
No.
You know, we're gonna be. You know,
I wanted the Lakers to lose.
We're gonna order in. You know what I'm saying? Everybody gonna watch it. Everybody had enough drinkage, had enough food, chips, and everything. They was watching the game from the beginning to the end. And you're not doing that with this type of basketball, man. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. So
well, the semis have been a drag. Okay, I mean, who thought Dallas would beat Minnesota? Minnesota, they threw everything to beat Denver, and Dallas seems like they threw everything to beat Minnesota. And you're seeing it in both of the previous series. And then Dallas has had a cakewalk, Boston has had but does this dominant victory over Dallas, does this make them look like one of the great teams of all time? You know, they won 67 games in the regular season.
I put them on the bottom. Like I put them after 10. Like, you know, from all the championship teams.
I know numbers wise, it would say that they're one of the greats, but
we
all know the real context of the games, though.
Right, like
I would agree with you. I'm just throwing it out there, man, as a talk show host, brother.
I'm just trying to think.
They're not as good as that Laker team in 01, are they? With Shaq and Kobe, where they look at invincible practically.
And you know what? I don't want to sound like a bitter person because my teams are not on that list. I would probably put them maybe under the Pistons that won that year.
Wow.
Maybe even a little bit lower than that. That Piston team.
Well, they were coached by Larry. You talking about the 04 Pistons or the 89 Pistons?
No, 04.
Oh, yeah.
Because
they were coached by Larry Brown, and he is a great coach.
The way they went out there and did everything together, like, and nobody was used to seeing that in 04, right? Mm-hmm. Because of after Jordan and this and that, like, you know, because these were like Rip Hamilton and
Rasheed
Wallace, and you had Chauncey Billups, and these were all guys that are like
Tayshaun Prince Pickles.
Yeah, aside from those two first names that we mentioned, those were all like later draft picks. Those weren't guys that are coming out. Those are just hardworking dudes that made a name.
I had to really get. Oh man, that's Boston would have home court against them if you put the records together. That's interesting. It might be close. I know Corey watches the program. He's a big Boston fan. Andre may be watching. He's a big Boston fan.
You can't put this team over the Kevin Garnett team and the Paul Pierce team, and you can't put that team over them. I don't think
we're older though. These guys are in their prime.
I know, but
this team may be deeper than that team.
I mean,
who's the third wheel in that team? The jump shooter there,
Ray Allen.
Ray Allen, the sharpshooter. Okay,
you can't. No,
wow. I mean, that's tough, man.
I can't. I won't. Myself, I won't. If you want to, if you're a Boston fan, or you
they beat the Lakers in 7, but that was a good Laker team. You know,
that was a good three. That's a good three-headed monster, man. Like that. You know, Paul Pierce.
This team don't have a lot of size. I mean, Porzingis has missed. He's played but 2 games. You know,
Paul Pierce was.
You're probably right. You're probably right.
He was underrated, and he was already like on the passing his peak. He passed his prime. He was about to peak. Kevin Garnett was about to peak, and then Ray Allen still had gas left in the tank.
Remember, they went Game 7 2 years later. They went Game 7 2 years later against the Lakers and lost because Kendrick Perkins got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at it from the fact that Horford's age and the age of their players, that's a good point. Yeah, I would probably take that 08 Celtic team over them. But numbers wise, it's going to look.
And they have Big Baby Davis too, right?
Yeah, they had Big Baby Davis. I thought Big Baby was going to help them beat that Laker team in 10. I lost $50. $100, two $50 bets. Because if you recall, they won. This talking about 2010.
Right.
They beat the Lakers in Game 5 that year. The winner in Game 5. Usually wins a 2-2 series 85% of the time.
And that man went.
The Lakers won 6 and 7 thanks to big threes by Meta World Peace.
Who would have thought a big guy like that would shoot threes?
If you recall that series, that was a great series.
That was
bitter for me. Andrew Bynum, they had 2 towers, Gasol and Bynum, if you recall.
Yeah, I mean that, and still like. You would be like, yeah, I'm gonna go home early to watch the game, right? Like you was excited. Yeah. But now it's like, yeah, I'll catch it. You're watching a couple baseball games, some WNBA games. You know what?
What was the best series that was it Minnesota Denver?
That was
7 games.
I think that might have been the best series.
It peaked out, right?
Playoff, yeah. And I think that to me that was the NBA championship right there. Because it was just going back and forth, right? Like, I
still can't believe Denver blown that 20.
Everybody keeps saying, everybody's like, well, why? Like, no, it was good. It was good. But then now you have this, and you're like, it should be better, right? The playoff game, the final game should be better than the playoff game.
Yeah. Sometimes it happens that way. I'll say this: I do think Boston should have beat Golden State a couple years ago. I think Boston has, as an organization, they've worked their rear end off. They've made changes. They've moved coaches to general manager. Who's that young guy? The guy they got from Butler used to be the coach there.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but I know you're talking about.
Yeah, so they moved him from coach. They moved Danny Ainge out, right, and he takes over Utah. But Danny Ainge deserves a lot of credit for this, for bringing in Tatum and Brown. Remember, none of these guys were the first overall pick, and all those draft picks and moves and trades made some mistakes.
Yeah, I thought when the coach got
Brad Stevens. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think.
Right, Stevens. Yeah, I thought when that one coach got in trouble, they was gonna just.
Me too.
Turmoil, because they had done so much with this guy, but they were able. Credit to Stevens, and he was able to get this team
some good veteran assistants around Missoula.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, so kudos to them. I mean, it ain't over yet.
No, it's not.
The fat lady ain't singing, but she's in the back warming up. She's back there warming up. Yeah, she's clearing her throat, like that song said. Let me clear my throat. Okay, guys. Trevor Lawrence huge deal with Jacksonville. I'll give you first dib. What do you think, man? He's 5-year extension there.
I'm doing. I don't want to do this.
5,275, folks.
But I have
5 a year.
Would you rather have given Lawrence that money or Goff that money?
Wow.
Because
now, mind you, Lawrence is 24 and still ascending, in my opinion.
Because here's a tidbit for you. Neither Detroit nor the Jaguars are going to win with this contract they give to both these quarterbacks. You can write that down.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I get you, man.
To me, it's like, what are you doing I know you need a quarterback. Like, I understand. Like, I'm in the valley of death of quarterbacks that haven't put out anything since the early 2000s. Like, I get it. Like,
Mark Brunell.
Like, what are you doing? Like, these guys ain't won nothing. Now, they got stats, but a lot of players get stats. Tyrod Taylor got stats.
Well, now Goff has been to Super Bowl and the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, but he went on. Everybody knows that.
And Lawrence has won playoff game last year.
Okay,
or year before last, and
so you won't give him.
He had some injuries last year, but I just looked at his stats here. He's played all the way through those injuries.
Okay, again, though, you give him the keys to the kingdom. So see, the thing is with these huge contracts and stats is that you handcuff your team, and then you can't get to the next level. Like, you have to have the quarterback, but would you have given Goff that kind of money? And he's older, but you giving this kid who's a little bit younger that money. The Jaguars got the better end of the deal than the Detroit Lions.
Yeah,
but again, these two teams who are on the up have just kept themselves mediocre by giving these two guys too much money that they can't being in the conferences that they will not be able to move up. Like during the football season, you got injuries, and then we talk about it. Oh, how many more players do they need to make to get over the hump? And you're like, oh, they need 5 or 6. But there's no cap space. Why? Because you got a quarterback you just signed and gave all his money to. You know what I'm saying?
Well, there is a way. If you got a good general manager, and I think they've got a mediocre general manager, I really do. They remember they had the number 1 pick year before last out of Georgia, and I can't even remember his name.
There you go.
But Detroit takes Aiden Hutchinson, who is all world and living up to the hype. Aiden Hutchinson should have been the number 1 overall pick. That being said, my only criticism of Lawrence is he's got to tweak his play. I've been saying this since he came in the league. He's 6'6", he's lanky. Okay. He's getting hurt a lot. He's got to learn to tighten his mechanics up a little bit and throw short. And I know they've done more of that lately. I've seen it. ETN is really having some big years here, and when I watch Lawrence play, I think, okay, Jacksonville can win every game they're in, include that they've down 28 points year before last. And he just played through injury last year, but he's got to stop running. He's got to run less. He's got to check down more. I mean, I don't know if you heard Tom Brady was inducted into the New England Patriots Hall of Fame last night. And he just gave a great speech, and I'll probably talk about it one day next week. But he's really got to adapt to some of what Brady used to do as far as checking that ball down and keeping himself out of harm's way due to his frame. Pickles thinks he's like a Boomer and Sice a little bit. I didn't think he's that thick though. But Boomer was a bigger player. Boomer's a great big old guy. I met him up in New York when I was living there, by the way.
Boomer's not 6'6". He's 6'7", isn't he?
He's a big guy. I shook his hand. His whole hand covered by him. He's a nice guy, though.
His whole hand will cover your face, bro.
Man, he's a giant, man.
He's big, dude.
But Lawrence, I'm like you. I don't like to do that. Pay the quarterback a fortune, but the Rams got away with it, And what they did was they deferred a lot of money to 1 year and had a flush year, which was last year, right? And they had $70 million dead money and made it the playoffs last year and probably should have beat Detroit. Okay. Yeah. So if you get that quarterback right and you air quote, pay the right players, a defensive tackle, a pass rusher, okay, a left tackle, a real left tackle that can hold down the fort, maybe one receiver, one big weapon. You don't have to, it could be a great tight end. That's why I was really hoping they could have got Brock Bowers or somebody like that, or your Giants, somebody. I'm hoping one of them two could have got Brock Bowers. I know Wallard retired, but something like that with the right coaching. You're right. Maybe Peterson's not that guy, but look who he had. And as much as I love Urban Meyer, he couldn't done a worse job that first year. I mean, he's sitting there hanging out at bars a Thursday night football game, staying over in Ohio with the teams flying back. I mean, he was a disaster, I think the kicker on that team ended up suing Urban Meyer for some crap, for something, some kind of verbal abuse or something. I don't know. But he was a disaster. And then you had last year, we had a good year, or year before last, and then last year, his injuries were the problem, and they fired their defensive coordinator. So it's been bumpy in Jacksonville, man. It's really been bumpy. I think if he had a better organization, if he had like a Sean Payton, if he was with that Denver team, I think he'd be more successful, even after only being in the league for 3 years. So it's not the best contract, but I'm not totally trashing the Jaguars today. If I'm a Jag fan,
I know this. He's the right guy at the wrong place. And then,
the right place at the wrong time.
And then Goff is the wrong guy at the right place. So,
I don't know if anything I said made any sense, but Lawrence is he's not the guy that I thought he was overhyped. I keep thinking, wasn't he in the league 5 or 6 years? No, he was the only player that really made it out of that 21 class. Zach Wilson was in that class. There were some other quarterbacks in that class that I can't even remember. But it wasn't good. Justin Fields, by the way, in that class.
Even if he stood out as the best quarterback of that class, you going to give him that much money? Like, that don't mean nothing.
Trey Lance was in that class. Kyle Pitts. All these guys have been underachievers. Waddle's been hurt, other than Penei Sewell from the right tackle from Detroit, obviously. Detroit's got a great GM, man. I mean, general manager is a big deal. If this doesn't work out with this coordinator, they'll move off Doug Peterson, and they'll try again in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Peterson, but
they looked out coached in the Houston game. You remember that first game they played Houston? Houston beat the crap out of them down there.
I mentioned last year when we talked, I thought he was too passive. Like, he's not in your face about stuff. And then, people get upset when he's not, when things don't go the way they want it to. So, I don't.
Yeah. But if you're here in Nashville, you want the worst for him, I mean, as the Titans nation, you really have to worry about Houston more than anybody. They're going to be world beaters. Switching gears here. Actually, you know what? Quick take. What do you think about Aaron Rodgers missing mandatory mini camps, him being the quarterback now, and it being an unexcused absence by Robert Saleh?
Yeah, where's he at? I mean, what you doing?
Man, there was reports that he was in another country at some event or something. What's he thinking, man?
Well, I mean, he was ready to play football with still trying to recover from an injury, and now he has the opportunity on the field to show everybody that he's doing well, and he's not even here, and that's okay because you know what, he's older. He had made plans. You know, word on the street is he's made plans and he was going to miss this week, whether he was healthy or not. So, and if he's in another country, it's better that he's in another country not playing football than he's in another country doing something ridiculous and getting hurt, you know? So,
do you think that this is going to be in January next year, 6 months from now, 7 months from now, we'll look back at this day when Saleh is fired and say, well, they're 9-8. And do you remember
you gonna give him 9 games?
That the undercurrent was Saleh and Rodgers not clicking back in, Rodgers blowing off those mandatory mini camps when he's talking about everybody else being all in, coming back from a Achilles. Do you think Brady would do that? I mean,
Tom Brady took less money so he could get people to protect his butt.
Yeah. Rodgers did take a pay cut.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna take a pay cut, but he didn't play either. So it's not Tom Brady took a pay cut, but he was playing and he played prime time, like he played out of his mind. So
yeah,
there's a difference, and look, you giving them 9 games. You think the Jets are gonna win 9 games? You think they're gonna be 9-8?
Well, it's ironic that their FanDuel said they'll be 9.5. The over and under is 9.5.
Yeah,
they're about a 9.5. They got a good team on paper.
Football ain't playing.
They have upgraded their offensive line.
Yeah.
Now, if Tyron Smith can hold up, and then of course you've got your draft pick, the right side, they went and paid a lot of money to a guy to help out there. We'll see. Give Breece Hall the ball and throw the ball short. But Pickles, I mean, maybe he does play just fine.
The Jets have to average 29.5 points a game. And
they got a really good defense on.
And their defense has to at least give them 7 points a game average. Because they ain't going to do it with their offense, no matter who's out there running the ball and who's out there catching. Because Aaron Rodgers he's gonna keep you in games, but he's not gonna go all out. And because he's 40 years old, man, he can't run.
He's coming off that Achilles.
And he's coming off the Achilles, so
I got a feeling it's not going to end well for them.
You got a feeling too, and it's not his.
It ain't really that great, down the stretch.
I'm tell you what. This is what I predict: that the New York Jets and the New York Giants will be picking 3rd and 4th next season, and they ain't gonna win more than 7 games.
Okay, well, I won't give you my final analysis until after training camp because things happen,
They're gonna pick up better players.
Well, there's injuries in training camp. Other teams get injured in a training camp. I'm not too sure about the Dolphins in that division. Buffalo's got a lot of injuries too, and New England's going to be the worst team.
But there's a difference between what you're thinking about and what I'm thinking about. I know those 2 coaches ain't got championship caliber mentality. I know that for sure.
Will probably get fired. I told you I think he's probably going to get
kicked. And Dable, everybody, he playing smoke and mirrors and stuff, but you still got a problem, and that's that you don't got a quarterback. So. Well,
you can't leave a conversation without taking a shot at the Giants.
Man, I mean,
Kenny Pickles. Here, take a right hook here. East Rutherford. Since we're in East Rutherford, go ahead and take a jab.
Waller just retired. They're going to clean that money off the plate. Who are they going to get that's going to make their team better if their quarterback is not good?
I tell you what, Malik Neighbors is having a really good mini camp.
Malik Neighbors is always going to be looking great, athletic, and promising. He could have done that for any team.
Some say he may be better than Odell Beckham. He looks like Odell Beckham. I think he's going to be a bright. Every time you write the Giants off, they play better.
No, they don't.
Every time. I wrote them off the 2 years they got to the Super Bowl. I wrote them off way.
I never wrote them off when they was with Eli.
You didn't write them off in 07 when they was what? 5-6 or something like that.
No, not then. Because
Eli Manning couldn't score a touchdown.
I believe that
offense.
I believe that Coughlin was a good
coach.
Because
you believed in Coughlin. Okay.
I believe that the Strahan and those guys were good. Like, I would never rip them off defensively. Now offensively, I have questioned because I'm like, Tiki, what you
They're running the ball up the middle.
Yeah, like why you fumbling stuff. But I didn't write them off as like they weren't gonna get. They weren't always an opportunity. They always had opportunity to be in the playoffs. That was my thing. Is like they might not be a championship team, but they're gonna have an opportunity to be in the playoffs. Right.
Woodson. I was watching the Hard Knocks last year, and the owner there, Woody. I think his name is Woody Johnson.
Woody Johnson. Yes,
yeah, he's sitting there showing necklaces to the players and say, "What do y'all think about this?" And he's like wanting to be one of the guys, and you could tell he's kind of a kid himself.
Well, he owned a football team,
and he's a little bit knee-jerk reaction type of guy. He seems like a nice guy. He just seems a little bit, I don't know, maybe eccentric, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, when you're a successful businessman like him and have billions of dollars, you can do all that, Robert.
Well, he was
Jerry Jones is the same way. Like, when you want, you're successful in the business and stuff like that. But this isn't a business, man. This is a sport. It's different. And you treat it like a business, so you're gonna get, if you treat things differently, then you're gonna get different types of results. Like,
I like the owner of the Rams. He signs checks and he stays out of the way.
That's the way you got to do it, man. That's why you hire people that know that got the know-how.
He holds it down. He's not crazy. He don't make these knee-jerk reactions like the owner of the Colts there. Yeah, he is a trust fund. Yeah, he was born on third base, big time. I gotta ask you, man, what's your thoughts about the great Jerry West? I got his book here, West on West, passed away. 86. I didn't think he was that old, man. He looked good for his age, didn't he?
Him and Pat Riley, man, they both look good for their age. Like, who are older men who have been in the player GM positions. Let me say something about thanks to Jerry West. Tennessee should thank him for helping the Memphis Grizzlies become relevant.
Yes.
For even
executive of the year in 2004.
For keeping him there too. Like, he was part of that team that convinced the NBA that they needed to stay in Tennessee. So you fans, I know you ain't got a championship yet, but Grizzly fans, man, just be grateful for what you got. That you still have the Grizzlies. This whole thing, this talk about Nashville, they not even in the top 5 to get an NBA team. Like, I don't understand what's going on. They want to put a team in Mexico City before they put a team in Nashville. I mean, golly, what is going on there?
Nashville's growing so fast down here, dude.
I'm like, but it's perfect for a sports city though. Like,
if they put an NBA team, I'm going. If that would go. If they put a Major League Baseball team, I would go.
I like the sounds in there. They good in there, but
yeah, but I'd love to get an American League
like
team.
Come on, like, I'm just surprised that the amount of businessmen, the amount of respectful people, the amount of entertainers that have put in so much money and have spent so much time and effort to get this city, the city of Nashville, like a team. For basketball and baseball, and they haven't gotten it. And these owners don't get it. Like, look, they didn't see what happened when they had the draft in Nashville. It was like, and now all the teams trying to do what Nashville did, and they can't.
Yeah, I wish they would do away with their hockey team, but yeah, Jerry West is, he put that 80s Lakers team together. He put Shaq and Kobe together. I heard something yesterday. I had about 30-minute piece on him, or this morning I heard somebody, I think it was Colin Coward, mentioned the fact that he put Shaq and Kobe together in one summer, not like a week apart in '96. Remember, he had the trade. I didn't know it was like a week apart. I thought it was like, June and whatever, but he had to trade to get Kobe there, trade Volley D-Ball.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. And I read some books about that situation. His best friend was Kobe's agent. Tellum.
Okay.
Right. So he was, and when Tellum was like, "Yo, Kobe's agent was like, "Yo, you got to check this guy out."
17 out of Philadelphia.
And he was like, "You got to check."
Bryant's
so what he did, what West did was Jerry West saw him practice in 2 days. He said the first day he didn't believe it. Right? Tell him, you got to get. He looks phenomenal, whatever. I'll come back. I don't know about him. The next day he went in and he saw him, and it was like he played better than he did the first time he saw him. So he was like, Jerry West was like, he saw people like that play before. He saw Pistol Pete. He played with all other people, man. He saw a lot of these guys, and
of course,
he saw something in him, and he's like, I want this kid. Like something's right about this kid. His mentality, his work ethic, whatever it was. And like Jerry West knows about basketball. He knows about people, and he's got it right most of the time. What has happened in Memphis, it didn't work out for him. But again,
but they were a dumpster team, and he brought in Conley, Gasol.
Well, before that, remember they had that player. Remember that they had that player who disappeared, who got killed, and that didn't help either in Memphis. No. I forget his name.
But they went pretty far in the playoffs here.
What was his name? Right?
Jack, recall back to '96. I know you like myself. I was watching Shaq's free agency. I know he's going to get like $100 million or something. This was 28 years ago, right?
Right.
But I was for sure. They made a documentary, the Orlando 30 for 30 Magic. Everybody thought he was going to go back to Orlando.
Yeah.
But Jerry West was working. He's behind the scenes making things happen, man.
Well, he invited Shaq to Los Angeles like 3 times, I think. And every time he invited Shaq, the money just kept going up and up and up.
Yeah.
But listen, when you want somebody and he's gonna pay dividends, it don't matter what you pay them. And that's what some of these GMs are trying to do with these quarterbacks. Like, let's sign them and maybe we'll get more fans or pay, That's not how that works.
Well, I'd much rather pay a quarterback than a receiver. And that was all about selling tickets, if you ask me, with Justin Jefferson. But West, he was a guy that just, and
a talented basketball player, man. Like we didn't live that era, but this is a guy who went 9 times to a final, right? Like
he only won one, but he got an MVP in '69. They didn't even win that final. They just outplayed everybody.
The first and only NBA basketball player.
Is that going to be Luka this year?
I don't think they'll give it to him.
No, I'm just messing with you. It's going to go to Jaylen Brown. It's going to go to Brown. Hey, quick take here. Do you recall the Madden curse?
Oh,
Christian McCaffrey, dude, is going to be on the cover. I mean, they've already lost the Super Bowl. They got that working against them. Does McCaffrey being on the cover, does that just put even more of a stamp that the 49ers are not getting back to the Super Bowl?
Hey, you got to add, and like I'm not saying I'm a believer of the Madden curse. I do believe that every time a players get an extension, they play worse that season anyway.
Oh yeah, plus by the way, he got a 2-year extension too.
So he not only cursed, if you believe in the curse, but I know he ain't gonna play right because he just got paid. So San Francisco. If y'all don't make the Super Bowl, I don't understand why you would be like questioning that at all. Like,
man.
Here's the thing about that, which when
Typical City breaking thing. Hey, I'll tell you what, I brought this up yesterday. The 49ers drafted our guy out of Missouri we were talking about. He's undrafted. Cody Schrader.
Oh, Schrader. Oh.
Can you imagine this guy looking like a Terrell Davis out there, another guy undrafted that played under Mike Shanahan 25 years ago?
Yeah, that's what, he's more likely to get playing time than McCaffrey seeing more than 4 games, man. And I tell you,
you and Pickles, man.
Yeah, and I tell you,
throwing him under the bus and hitting the back up on that.
Last year was great. Last year was great to see him stay in games, but he got smacked up so hard sometimes. I was like, why did he even come back for the second play?
He's
because
a tough little dude.
Yeah, he's tough, but
perfect for him.
It's you can only do that so many times, man. And some of the bigger guys who've been on Madden, what's this guy's name from Baltimore who was a running back? He was.
I don't. Well, it was Ray Lewis. I don't think they had a.
They didn't have
they
guy
didn't have Ray Rice or
no the UT player. He wasn't.
They
on
didn't
there?
have Jamal Lewis on there.
He wasn't on there. Okay,
No.
so
but he did win the Super Bowl with them.
They had Allstott. Allstott was on there and didn't come back and have a great season after
Well,
that.
I know. I'll tell you who had bad seasons. Most of the running backs.
Yeah. Yeah, because
remember Eddie George? Terrible year.
Yep.
Marshall Faulk, terrible. Sean Alexander. I was talking about this yesterday, Pickles. One of the worst years. Mad and cursed big time.
Yeah.
Dante Culpepper. Now, he wasn't a running back, but just about every running back on there, it's like, dude, Peyton Hillis was the worst.
Peyton Hillis,
he had a superstar year.
And then that was it.
Contract extension, covering Madden. I mean, he was worth a bleep there.
He did come back and play for the Giants, but they didn't make the playoffs. And he saved the kid's life.
Yeah, I mentioned that yesterday. And he almost died on the beach about a year ago or something, right?
Yeah, because he have cardiac arrest or something like he had.
Well, I mean, he's a Madden curse, but it didn't curse him enough to kill him. So,
I mean, I just
Christian McCaffrey's only 28. I mean, he might be okay, but
I don't know about that.
They have a stable of running backs. I think they still get to the playoffs. I just don't see them get back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't see it. I was going to ask you that.
Man.
Do you really see them get back to the Super Bowl?
Sean Alexander had to curse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen to this. The digital version of Barry Sanders was on 2002 weeks. Then he retired, so they reframed that year. Wow. 10-year guy. Yeah. That's right. That's right, Jeremy. Barry Sanders, 99 or 89 to 99. And those were 10 really cool years. Running around at PE. Did you guys kind of act like when y'all was playing like two-hand touch, like do the little turns in the ground, acting like you're Barry Sanders as a kid, Carlos?
Yeah, I mean, I was mostly into basketball then.
Yeah.
I was into that cartoon show with Wayne Gretzky and Michael Jordan and Bo Jackson.
I have a copy of it on PC. Nice. Yeah, I believe you, Jeremy. I believe you. And I just remember that there were petitions. A petition, folks, was put out for LaDainian Thomas not to be on, if you recall, Carlos, not to be on Madden. It got crazy there for a little while. Right around the time we were in college, man.
But you know what's funny?
I did not want no more Titans. Vince Young was on there. It's a total disaster. They should have never put him on there after his rookie.
Wasn't John Randall on it? No, he was on another football game.
No, you're thinking Techno Bowl. No, Bo Jackson wasn't on there.
No, John Randall.
Randall. I think he played with the Eagles, didn't he?
No, the Vikings.
Yeah, you do not want. The good thing about it is, Jeremy, I'm picking the Lions. I think Jamar Gibbs could potentially have an MVP level. Now I call him MVP level type of year. When the best line, him and here's another one for you guys, Bijan Robertson from Atlanta.
Oh.
They're both second-year players. Remember Chris Johnson in his second year? I mean, 2,000 plus yards, man. Chris Johnson, Titans.
CJ 23.
Yeah, I mean, you look at guys like him, Peterson, Barry Sanders.
Second year came out.
Second year's running backs take the bleep off. I really think that Ray Rice was a great player. You mentioned whatchamacallit just now. Le'Veon Bell. I could keep going, man. I really can.
Yeah.
Wide receivers, quarterbacks, and
even if you think about it, even Marshall Faulk and Jerome Bettis.
That was later on in their career.
Yeah, like after the third and fourth year, they were a little bit better. Like
some guys take off the first year, they call it the sophomore slump. But most of the time, if you look at running backs, they really because the game slows down for them. They don't get fatigue because they're used to the 16 or 17 game season.
They used to get contracts. Remember they didn't have the contract situation has been changing for the last 10, 15 years for them too. So
he said, remember to Aaron, I think he broke his collarbone that year, if I'm not mistaken.
Was he on Madden?
He might have been.
Was that Brett Favre?
Oh, it might have been Favre, Jeremy. Because Favre did have a bad year because that's the year he went to the Jets and got hurt. It was 2009. You remember that, Carlos?
Yeah, I remember that.
It made Matt Flynn over. Who was Matt Flynn beat out by in Seattle? Trivia question.
He was beat out by one of the brothers, the brother that played for the Giants. What's his name?
No, he's beat out by a guy that from Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah.
Short guy, black guy. Third round pick. He was a later round pick. Who? Russell Wilson, man.
Russell Wilson. I was gonna say that guy.
Matt Flynn was given that contract because he had 6 touchdowns against Jeremy's Detroit Lions in a meaningless game at the very end of the season.
I was thinking about somebody else.
It was Rodgers' MVP year. It was after his MVP year. Russell Wilson, yeah, sure did.
Yeah.
I mean, Wilson, second year, and a lot of second-year quarterbacks, guys, go to the Super Bowl. That Wilson, Super Bowl second year. Brady, Ben Roethlisberger,
Purdy,
Brock Purdy, like I called it. They didn't win it. Dan Marino didn't. They didn't win it, but they did go. 2011, they went 15-1 one year. I think that was 2011, wasn't it? Might have been 2010. No, it might have been 2011. The year they won it, the Packers had a lot of injuries that year. I was real impressed. And then those guys, 13. 30. So it's Rodgers' fun player to watch. I just really disappointed in kind of how things have played out with the Jets, man.
Are you really disappointed? I mean, he's not. This is not like this is his midlife crisis, but
yeah, he's speaker at the psychedelic conventions.
You know I mean, like,
going on Tucker Carlson, RFK. He's really going off the kind of finding himself, And appreciate it, Pickles. Appreciate it. But Carlos, hopefully I'll see you back next week, maybe next Thursday, maybe Friday. You got anything going on next Friday?
I'm just in we're the tail end of the school year. So because we're in the tail end of the school year, we got a lot of stuff going on. Even this week, my niece I got another niece. She graduated in Connecticut. We're gonna hook up in Connecticut tomorrow with the family. So straight up for shout out to my niece Sophia Lanson.
Nice.
The number 2 wrestler in Connecticut in the state in the tri-state area and for women's wrestling, and she's doing her thing. She's going to Indiana. So very proud. We're all proud of her. And, she's doing things. And it's like, it's been busy, man. Family, too. You know how I am with my family. So,
it's a family affair.
Yeah, so they're all doing things. And even her brother's doing, they won a rugby for his division.
What's up, man?
Yeah, man. So they doing, they everybody's doing big things. So, and I'm proud of them. They as much as they do the sport things, they're on top of their academics, and that's important. So,
amen, amen. Yeah.
But I'm gonna do a What the Football coming up next week on Tuesday. So,
good show there. Yeah. I tuned in.
Yeah, I saw that, man. Yeah.
All right. Let me know. I'll always chime in. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Carlos. We'll probably do something Thursday because I may have some work coming on next Friday. Who knows?
Sounds good.
I've been kind of on call for that stuff.
If that's the new thing that they call the ladies, man, do your thing, bro.
Baby. See you, buddy. Thanks.